Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
Welcome back to Swim Lessons, the podcast. I'm your host, Dallas Hanson, and I've said this a few times, but my guest today is C. Willi Myles, and this is one of my favorite podcasts I've ever gotten to do. Long story short, C. Willi Myles was coming to Crosby, North Dakota to do a comedy show. I hit him up on Instagram, said, I'm doing a podcast. Would you mind coming in and talking? And he did, and it was... When I say he's one of the best storytellers I've ever been around, he truly was. We talked about him opening up for Fleetwood Mac, Temptations, talking to Bernie Mac. Dude, the guy was full of great stories, and it gave my dream of keeping on doing swim lessons new hope. Because he complimented me afterwards, and it just meant the world to me that a world-class comedian like this gentleman, C. Willi, came through, gave me the time of day, and gave me a heck of an interview. So I really appreciate C. Willi. But before we get to C. Willi Myles, the great and powerful, we got to talk about our sponsors because they make today possible. And sponsor number one is PSP Network. It's game day. They've been promoting local student athletes for a very long time. Right now, they're in playoff football mode and playoff volleyball mode. So make sure you check out PSP Network on their YouTube. That's at PSP Network, or their website, psp.network. Nick Holberg and his team do a fantastic job. So make sure you check out PSP Network. Next up is the amazing and wise River's Edge Bar and Grill. They are known for offering the best happy hour in town, providing unbeatable deals in a lively atmosphere. Guests can also enjoy a variety of entertaining activities, including bingo, trivia, and the very popular Name That Tune. Come on down to River's Edge for great drinks, great food, and great fun. River's Edge Bar and Grill in Williston, North Dakota. And next up, it's football season. Do you want a good hamburger when you're sitting down to watch your favorite team? I know I do. And the place you can find that is Glosso Angus. Glosso Angus, a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons, the podcast. They are your premier source for registered Black Angus cattle since 1973. Glosso Angus showcase dominance, durability, and docility, and are built to thrive on the northern plains. Check them out. That's Glosso, Glasoe, Angus.com. And next sponsor is BSN Sports, and ever since 1972, this company is old, folks. 1972, BSN Sports has helped area sports teams look their best as they strive for their goals and dreams. They provide apparel, uniforms, and equipment for teams in nearly every sport. Local service with a national reach, that is BSN Sports. Contact your local BSN Sports representative for more information. BSN Sports is a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons, the podcast. And a big part of my deal on DallasHanson.com is merch, and somebody that designed the merch for me and that I really appreciate is Fancy Panda Design. They're an independently owned design studio that specializes in branding, logo design, and marketing. We focus on adding value into your business to be as successful as possible. Deliberately distinctive design. Get fancy with Fancy Panda. And last but not least, the great and powerful Game Day Media ND on YouTube, or you can find them on Facebook at Game Day Media for schedules, quick links to games, stats, everything you need to follow your favorite student athlete to make sure you watch what upcoming events they may have. And Game Day Media, it's more than a game for these guys. They're your leader in live video sports coverage in Northwest North Dakota. At Game Day Media, our goal is to expose, support, and promote the best athletes that North Dakota has to offer. Appreciate all the sponsors. They mean a lot to me. And make sure you give us a like if you're on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel. But this was truly a treat. And the day we recorded this podcast, I had a really tough day. Applied for a job with a college team to broadcast for them. Didn't get it. So it was kind of a full moment circle that this opportunity landed in my lap, and we made the most of it. But I give you now C. Willi Myles. C. Willi, welcome to Crosby, North Dakota, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dallas.
How does it feel to be in North Dakota?
Well, it feels chilly, but everybody's convincing me that it ain't cold.
Yeah.
So apparently it's just me.
Yeah. How long you been doing comedy?
Oh, man, this is this past October, I'm celebrating 30 years. Absolutely, man. 30 rock solid years.
Are the first few months the toughest?
Not for me, man.
Not for you?
It wasn't. And I always tell people this, I backed into this industry. You know, I think if I'd have jumped into it and say, this is what I want to do, I think then it would have been tough. But because a friend of mine opened up a restaurant, and upstairs he had a banquet facility that he wanted to turn into a comedy club.
Where at? Where was
in
this
St.
at?
Cloud.
Oh,
so
nice.
Me going to college in St. Cloud, I played football in St. Cloud. Everybody knew me. He was like, dude, first of all, you're like the only brother in town. He said, people will just come to see you.
Yeah.
He said, and he was knowing me ever since I was in college. He said, tell some of those funny stories about when you came from Alabama to Minnesota. He said, if you just do that, he said, because I want you to be my MC. And first I said no. And then all of a sudden, I was like, the girl that I knew from the radio station she was trying to sell him ad space. So she came to me, and her name was Claire. I'll never forget it. And Claire was good looking. Ooh. And I think he sicked her on me.
Yeah.
And to get me to do it, because I did, I said, all right, Claire, I'll do the first couple of weekends. And then it just turned into 2 years as an MC. And I build a whole show around, an hour and a half worth of material where I just, instead with some headliners that would come there that didn't have but 45 minutes. That was a whole show. And me, every night I was coming up with different stories, and so I wound up being a storyteller. And so when I say I didn't struggle, I didn't. I had a job, and I got paid to do comedy on the weekends, on Fridays, Saturdays, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday. So by about 3 months, man, I was polished.
Yeah, you had caught a rhythm a little bit.
Because like I told the high school students I was speaking to this afternoon, I was a theater major and a psychology major. So I'm a good listener, and I'm oratorically, I don't miss. I know how to talk. I know when to raise my voice. I know when not to.
You have good timing.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I have great stage presence. You know what I mean? So because I was trained.
Yeah.
And that's how my career took off from there.
So when we were driving over here from the school, I was telling you about how I lived in Scottsdale, and I dipped my toes in comedy. And dude, when I saw you were going to be in town performing in Crosby, I can't even explain to you, because me and my roommates back in Scottsdale, we would go to Tempe Improv every Friday and Saturday, watch Joey Diaz, like all these great acts that came through the Tempe Improv. So I'm like, finally, stand-up comedy in a small town, North Dakota. So I was stoked. So thanks for coming, bro.
Absolutely.
One thing that I want to talk about too is I want to talk about your artistic ability of not only telling a joke, but also your writing process. Do you mind sharing with us your writing process and how you go through those steps? Because I find it very interesting.
Absolutely. And the one thing that if you ask anybody who's been knowing me all my life, I don't have a book. I have nothing written down.
It's all up here?
It's all in my head.
Damn.
I've always compartmentalized everything I want to talk about in my head. Because when I go on stage, what I don't want to do is have a set routine that I'm going to do. I don't want to say, this is what I'm going to talk about tonight. This is not what I'm going to go up there. I'm going to talk to the crowd first, like I always do, is introduce myself, and I get a feel for them. And then I build my show as I'm talking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So can I write? Absolutely. Cause I do punch writing. So I have a lot of friends who are in the, movie and television business that they call me in to get my expertise on, hey, I got this line. I don't know how to, what does this sound like? Yeah. Well, how would you say this? Or what does it mean to be at this age? What would you say if you were, if I asked you this question, because this guy's going to be kind of like your age? What's going to be your response? So I do stuff like that. I don't like to write because I don't like to be beholden to what I just wrote down. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you have to rewrite it, and that's why I see a lot of people do, a lot of comedians, and some of them are very good at it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a natural storyteller, which means I do observational humor. So my process is, and my wife says this all the time, like, I don't see how you drive and you just be sitting there. And she said, you listen to the music, I'm talking to you, and you get on stage and you tell people about stuff that you saw on the way here. Well, you weren't even paying attention. And I'm like, yes, I was.
Yeah.
But I do multiple things. And she goes, that explains why you sweat so profusely on stage, because yes, I'm writing, I'm talking and editing at the same time when I'm on stage. So my writing process is all in my head, man. And a lot of I have 7 CDs and 2 DVDs, I think. And that's, those are hour long. So you're talking 10 hours worth of material that when I put it out in the universe, chances are you won't hear me do it on stage anymore because it's done. And I had to clear up space in my head to put more stuff in there. But if I need it, I know I can go to the archives and pull it out.
Yeah, totally. No, I think there's something to that, because like when I did a couple open mics, and I'll never forget, it was at this place called Dos Gringos in Glendale, Arizona. Jill Kimmel's comedy show, Jimmy Kimmel's sister.
Sure.
And Jill's cool. And I sat down for a week at like my day job and wrote down jokes, and I went up there with the paper and I tried to bomb so bad. And there was one guy in the front row and I'm like, damn, this went off way better in front of the mirror. And he laughed at that. And I didn't have that joke written down. You know what? So like there's something to that where like you can like, it's like a football game.
Right.
Like you have a set of plays you think are going to work, and then the game starts and you're like, oh shit, this doesn't work, we got to maneuver around.
Right.
So there's something to that.
Yeah, it's like Mike Tyson said, man, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And then everything changes. like I didn't plan for that. Like, no one plans to get knocked out. You know what I mean? You plan to knock someone out, but as soon as you get rocked, you're like, okay, let me change my, you know what I mean? So with me, my thing was like to be a storyteller and stay in my box. You know what I mean? Don't try to, like, I can't remember a single joke someone told me. I just don't. If you write a bit, I mean, you know, like I can't. I'm not a structured writer. I'm a structured thinker, but not a writer, because once I start talking about it, then I can add to it. I can add to it. But once you write it, you got to say it as written. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
And then you rehearse it so many times, and then you it's in your head, and you go up and you do it the exact same way. I will tell you an ice fishing story, and I can tell that story every night, but I'll tell it different.
Right.
But it's the same story. I can start from the back, or I can start from the front. I can start it from the middle and go to the front, or start it from the middle, go to the back, and go all the way back to the front. And it's just as funny. And that's the one thing I would tell people that I learned from Bill Cosby, you know, outside not ever accepting anything to drink. But that's But
I was going to say.
One of the first times when I opened for him.
You opened for Bill Cosby?
Bill Cosby, yeah.
Damn.
And then so the piece of advice he gave me when I was standing in his room, and he said, listen, I listened to your show. He said, what I want you to do is open with your closing bit. Now, every comedian know that's
the dagger.
It is.
Yeah.
You do that, you asking, that's a death wish.
Yeah, exactly.
And so he said, there should be nothing in your repertoire that you can't close with. He said, you should be able to close with your opening bit. And I was like, wow. And so he said, well, here's what I want you to do. And this was at the Minnesota State Fair, early 90s. And he had listened backstage of my whole show, and I didn't know it. So his handler came over and talked to me afterwards and said, hey, Bill wants you to open up for him at the grandstand tonight. And I'm like, Bill? The only guy I knew then was a local comedian named Bill. I'm like, man, I'm bigger than him. Why would he be on the grandstand?
Yeah.
And so I had got it all wrong. But anyway, he said, no, Bill Cosby. I'm like, what? Whoa. He said he heard your show and he wants you to open for him. I'm like, what? That's sweet.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I gets there and he says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start with your closing bit, the ice fishing. Then I want you to go to your 9 sisters. Then I want you to go, you know, and then he was just saying, do the Catholic church bit, do the, you know, he just went right through and he said, I want you to do 20 minutes.
Damn. So how'd it go?
But here's the thing. The ice fishing bit alone was 12 minutes.
Oh, so you already had a good base and you were,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but what he was saying, like, you don't have to do it all.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to have to learn that you could, and that's how I learned to do what I'm doing right now. That's how I learned to be, you know, I don't have to tell the whole story to make it funny. I can leave the one part that I didn't tell you and tell that tomorrow, and it's just as funny as the part that I left out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what he taught me, and that's what I learned. And that's when you watch his show, you know, if you go back and watch old Bill Cosby stand up, that's what he did.
Mhm.
There was nothing that he talked about that wasn't funny back in the, his last few years. He just got too preachy for me.
Right.
But other than that, he was legendary. Him and Richard Pryor, all these type of guys,
Pryor,
right?
dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Legendary.
Legends.
So that's what I wanted. I wanted his demure on stage, but I wanted that Richard Pryor energy. You know what I mean? Because I don't do profanity. I don't pick on people. I don't talk politics. I don't talk religion, stuff like that. You know what I mean? The bit I do about Catholic Church has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with me going to a Catholic church for the first time as a Southern
How was
Baptist.
that?
So,
doing calisthenics.
bruh, up and down, all that here. And then you do all that and they don't feed you because you ain't Catholic? Bruh. I'm like, y'all come on, what would Jesus do? He feed me. That's what he do.
And no drink.
Right. You ain't, this ain't like you ain't real bread. Them wafers, man.
Got to sit in the nasty
Like,
pew by yourself.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to let them out. Everybody, and you know what? And the people that bring you don't even bring you nothing back.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you could have broke me off a little piece of something. I still tell my wife that my wife's Catholic, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we like almost 30 grand into this church in donations. I mean,
We get nothing.
what's the cover charge?
Yeah. It's
What's
expensive.
up, brother, to get a wafer? Good Lord.
Who else do you like in the comedy scene when you were coming up that you kind of looked up to?
Oh, Sinbad. Sinbad was my boy.
Bro, what happened to him?
And
Did he
had
have a stroke or something?
Yeah, he was
so gifted.
we spent some time on the road together, man. And,
oh my goodness.
I loved him, man. Brian Regan, who I just absolutely love, is just a hysterical, funny guy. Jim Gaffigan. I like comedians that love to go out and tell you a good story, and without insulting your intelligence or and picking on people. Those are not my Bernie Mac. I was a big fan of Bernie Mac.
Dude, the Bernie Mac show, I would watch that religiously.
I did too.
Dude, the best. And the way, even when I'm scrolling on Instagram and stuff, a Bernie Mac, minute long clip will come on. I laugh every time. He's the best.
Hey, one of my favorite stories about Bernie Mac is when I was down in Chicago and I did All Jokes Aside, and Bernie came up to me afterwards, man, and he said, man, don't you let nobody tell you can't do this, because I did a show and I did like 20 minutes with no profanity, killed the crowd dying. And he heard the manager of the joint tell me, hey, we love to have you back, but we need you to be a little bit more blue. Our audience is used to listening to blue comedy,
What's blue comedy?
Dirty
comedy.
I don't do dirty.
Right.
I don't use profanity.
Right.
I don't use the B word toward women.
Right.
I just don't do that. That's not who I am. And he was back and he told me backstage, man, you just do what you do. You don't do that.
What'd you say?
I said, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
He said, no, you funny. And I was on tour with Gladys Knight. So I was down over at McCormick's place and we had a night off. So her road manager knew the guy at All Jokes Aside and said, hey, we got a comedian that's touring with us. He's got the night off. See if we can get him a slot on your. And they said, sure. But then I killed it.
Yeah.
Because me, I got an all black audience out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Alabama.
Yeah.
I grew up with 9 older sisters, bro.
Yeah.
9.
You were ready.
I respect women.
Yeah.
I respect women, but I got stories about women that even women gonna laugh at. And then I grew up in a church going family. My father was part-time pastor, right? So at the end of the day, I know what it's like to go to a black church. I know what it's like to go to a black family reunion. I know what it's like to go to a black funeral. And I went up there and I did them bits. And them people were on the floor. And I ain't used no profanity. I didn't call the women out their names. I ain't called these guys out of their names. I ain't say nothing like that. And I had so many people walk up to me going, hey, man, that was a great set, man. She said, I think we get so used to listening to people call us, the B word and this, and we think it's funny until you walk up there and you do the whole thing about black folks being at the funeral and how they love to be screaming and hollering. They don't even know who in the casket. they paid actors.
Yeah.
They showed them, oh my God.
Yeah.
It should have been me. It should have been me. Oh, he was young. He was too young. He was 94. He was 94. You know what I mean? And it was like, just like at a family reunion, like you don't just show up and bring food that you know somebody else is better at. You know, like if you got an auntie that gonna be there that makes peach cobbler, don't bring peach cobbler. Right. Yeah. Ain't nobody eating your peach cobbler. Yeah. The first thing people ask you at the black friend, well, who made the cobbler? So Irene. Oh, Lord, she don't make no man.
Yeah, no peach cobbler.
Where Lorraine peach cobbler at? She bring it? Yeah, okay. Where that at? Because we ain't, she don't, Irene don't know nothing about making them. Them don't even look like real. Them look like mandarin oranges.
Like dumplings.
Right. She ain't got the laces right on top of nothing. She got them going the wrong way. I mean,
that's
like
awesome.
Black people are particular about their foods, man, especially at the reunion because you only get one a year.
Yeah,
you got to eat right.
Yep, it's a big deal. Before we hopped on here, you looked at the Fleetwood Mac poster behind me,
right,
and you got a few Fleetwood Mac stories. I'm a big Fleetwood Mac guy. Share with us, please.
Yeah, man. So I got really lucky, man. It was one of those instances. I was out in Boston. I was doing a college tour, and Fleetwood Mac was playing. And the band, the lead singer got sick or something, and they didn't want to they didn't have enough time to get another band to get set up, tuned, so they wanted to use a comedian. So just so happened, Mick
Fleetwood, yeah, you're right.
Not Mick.
Or not Mick.
The Lindsey Buckingham.
Oh, the piano.
When Lindsey Buckingham was touring by himself, his road manager just so happened to be there, and he was at my show the night before. Because his daughter was going to college out there. He said, well, I know a comedian that's in town, and he's clean. He knows music because he's toured with the Temptations, the OJs, and Aretha Franklin. But I mean, they was like, well, let's call him up, And that was the first time I took a gig without even asking what the pay was because I was on tour. I was making good money. And it didn't matter if it was, but it was really good money. Actually, it turned out to be great because they gave me the whole band money.
That's awesome.
So it was awesome. So anyway, he wound up getting a hold of my manager, and then my manager calls me. I'm sitting in my hotel room getting ready to watch my shows, man. I was like, I had ordered me some food. I was chilling.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Fleetwood Mac is right down at the theater, and they're looking for an opening. I'm like, oh my God. I said, for real? And they said, yeah. Dude. I said, I can get there, but I said, man, are they going to introduce me? They're going to announce me, or they just going to? He goes, no. He said, talk to Brian. Brian said he'll make sure that they come out and give you a big welcome and let people know that you're going to be on there. I sent them a photo already. They're going to put it up on the screen. Yada yada yada. And so, sure enough, I got there. Took me forever to get into the building, man. Like these people was like, they would not let me in. And then, so they finally let me in, and it was about 4 minutes before it was time for me to get on stage. And I walked up.
What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Relax, right. You're fine.
Yeah, and they finally got somebody from Fleetwood Mac to come up, and they escorted me back. And I walked on stage, and there was Lindsey Buckingham was standing right there, gave me a big high five. He said, man, they're going to love you, because I opened for him a few times in California, at these little small places that he was going to do his own thing, when he was on tour. A lot of them guys do small venues. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of like my thing.
Yeah. Was
the small venue stuff. And then I went out there, and it was just, the crowd was epic.
How many people were there? Theater, we're talking like?
It was probably, I think there was 15,000.
Damn.
It was nice. So I walked out there, and you couldn't see no more than the first couple hundred people. But man, did they give me such a great introduction. They was talking about they announced all the bands that I do, and they said, hey, I know a lot of you was expecting a band, but he said somebody got sick, blah, 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 and we found this comedian in town. He's a great, comedian and so forth and so on. And it worked out really good. So
did you see Stevie Nicks at all?
Oh yeah, man.
What was she like?
So awesome. Everybody was they were all backstage when I got done, like right behind the curtain. They was giving. I mean, they literally came on right when I was done. There was no intermission after me.
Wow.
They opened up the curtains. I only had they closed the curtains off, and I only had about 4 feet of walking space. That's the only part. Like when you're last minute, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like when I toured with like the Temptations stuff, I had like a lot of room. So I was on stage because I was with them, but it was like they opened up the curtain and they were all there when I walked through. Came back, got to shake everybody's hand and blah blah blah. But it was good, man. That was one of my,
I can just see you talking like about like a family reunion or something. They ain't got no good dumplings. All right, dreams. You know what I mean? Like, here you go. Like, dude, that is so sick.
You just use their songs, you use their music to tell a story and stuff like that. And, you know, and I went to college in St. Cloud, man. So Fleetwood Mac and the Chicago and Journey, that's the music I listened to because there was no R&B station in St. Cloud. You know what I'm saying? So I got lucky. I got lucky on all the people I got to open with. Like I said, when you get into this industry, that's not on your bucket list. Mm-hmm. You get so lucky. You have to be really lucky to get those type of gigs. You know what I mean? And so when you talk about someone like I can go down the list like Toby Keith.
Really?
You know, and Brad Paisley. So I've done country. I've done rock, and like, you know, Sheena Easton. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I mean, it's like, you know, it doesn't bother me when people always say all the time, like, they got into this business for a whole bunch of different reasons than I did. I got into this industry to be successful. Mm-hmm. Rich was not part of it. Mm-hmm. Being rich, because rich can mean a lot of things. Yeah. Famous can mean a lot of things. Success means one thing. You're successful at what you're doing, period. And you get to determine that.
Damn, let's go, bro. That was great.
That's it. You get to determine it.
Tell me a little bit more about the Temptation time when you're with them. How did that come to fruition?
Same way. Yeah. Same way. They were coming to Minneapolis, and Sean White works down at the theater, the State Theater. All of a sudden, I think they had an opening act too that couldn't make it or whatever, and they just looked up a local comedian. They called it Acme Comedy Club. So Acme Comedy Club was Lewis Lee, the guy that owns it, recommended me. So I go there, and at this time I had opened for, I think I had just got off a tour I was with the OJs, right? Mm-hmm. So I get to go down to the State Theater, and sure enough, got to meet Otis, you know, the last surviving member of the Temptation. And I went out and did a show with them, man. And when I tell you the song that my closing bit was, I took the titles of all their songs and did like my closing bit on it and made it into a story and ended with, if that hadn't, you know, if you treat her like a lady, your papa wouldn't be a Rolling Stone. When I tell you I brought that crowd up and stood on their feet, when I did like 8 songs and planned them all together, like in the titles of their songs. My wife couldn't believe I did that. And I said, I did that backstage. I just thought about it, their songs. And I said, I could say this at the end. I said, I got to remember it, because generally I say stuff over and over and over again. It's a story. Mm-hmm. And I don't write like that. So I did it, and it just ended. When I tell you, when I walked backstage, Otis was like, man, that was killer. He said, we going to Kansas City. He said, are you available? I said, man, whatever dates y'all got open, I'm ready. I'm available. I said, I got the best agent, can get me out of anything. Mm-hmm. And he would never, you know, deny me this. Mm-hmm. You know, this is legendary. Yeah. So I did that with them, and then they wound up ending at Mystic Lake Casino. Okay. And man, and I came out there, and all my family and friends was there, man. Wow. And it was a cool part. They brought me out on stage to sing Treat Her Like a Lady. No. Dude, it was epic. Oh my God. It was so much fun.
And all your family was there?
Oh yeah. Friends and everything, man. But that's not one of the coolest people I ever opened for. They were great, but I'm talking Ray Charles. Really? The legendary. This is when Jamie Foxx was doing his movie. What? And I got to work with him like a year and a half before he passed, right? What? This dude, State Theater, Minneapolis, called me up. And this is a show I would have done for free. Mm-hmm. But this is the funny part about Ray Charles. I go to do his show. I'm in my dressing room. I got this suit I just got, man. It was like a deep purple. You know, it was like a brand new suit. I wanted something that was just going to pop when I walked on stage. So the dude, his handler, walked down to me. He said, hey, man, Ray wants to meet you before you go on stage. I was like, okay, I'll be right down. I was so excited. He said, no, he's going to come to you. Whoa. And this was like 5 minutes before I walked up for him, supposed to go on stage. Knock on the door, open up the door. Ray Charles goes, hey, man, I just wanted to come and wish you good luck, cat. He said, hey, I hear you really funny, man. I said, yeah, I am. He goes, oh, look at that. I said, boy, that is a sweet purple suit you got on. I'm like, sir, thank you. I said, thank you. And I'm like, hey, he looked at his hand and he went, got him. he blind.
Yeah.
So dude came down and told him what color suit I had on. So I went out. Obviously, I went out on stage and just told it a joke, and that's what I opened up with.
That's
he
awesome.
said, "Don't feel bad. I did it to Stevie Wonder too." And he go, "He just as blind as me."
How was his show?
Oh, epic!
Yeah.
I mean, I generally go to the back of the room, dude. I stayed on side of the stage just to be that close to greatness.
Yeah.
And I think the creme de la creme was Aretha Franklin. When you open up for the Queen of Soul, my friend, sitting backstage with her, sitting on the piano, when that lady held my hand and she said, "Baby," she said, "you go out there and you do what you do."
Oh my
He said, "I'm gonna sit here and listen to every word. They tell me that you really funny." Her son plays drums for her.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so I knew him, right?
Yeah.
I worked out in Philadelphia quite a bit.
Okay.
There was Helium. It's a comedy club out there. So he frequent that, right? So I'm out there, man, and I'm just killing this show. I'm so excited that I'm working with the Queen of Soul, and I know she's sitting back there. And when I walked back, she just gave me the biggest smile. And I was just like, man, this is like, but the sad part about a lot of these shows I did, like a lot of them was mid 90s, really early 2000s. There wasn't really good cell phone reception. You didn't get a lot of photos, and stuff like that. I mean, I have some really cool pictures of me with the Temptations and stuff, the OJs and stuff like that are blown up. They're, in photo albums and stuff that, that all have to switch over to digital. But that's what you got back then. Those were the pictures that the photographer took, so they were epic. So like I said, I mean, it's a great business to be in, but you got to get really lucky sometimes.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like a guy like you comes to Crosby, I got lucky a lot. Now you're telling me all these stories. One thing that I want to touch base with you on is, Willi, is right when you're about to go on stage, do you like have a little self-calming moment, or what do you say to yourself to like gather yourself and go out to
nothing?
Nothing.
Some of the best thing that can happen for me backstage is have people backstage talking to me. I love talking to people before I go on stage. The one thing I can't stand is silence when I'm sitting backstage. I don't like that because it as long as I'm talking, my engine is running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm sitting there, I'm not one of those cats that like when I'm done, I just want to go back in my room and be alone. No, I'll rush out to the lobby so I can talk to people, shake hands. I'm that instant gratification guy. You know what I mean? Like when I walk out on stage, that's why I walked away from LA. I walked away from TV and movies. I mean, and I'm not even bragging when I tell you this, Dallas. I walked away. I'm talking millions of dollars. Like it didn't mean nothing to me. It doesn't mean anything to if you're not rewarded for the work that you do.
Right.
But I want the work that I do, not the work that I do with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want, if I'm good at my craft, I want to, this is my craft. And I let you do your craft, you do your thing. And I'm not jealous of my friends who have TV shows, who are executive producers or who are, showrunners. I mean, kudos.
Yeah.
That's it. I want my pay to rely on my work and my work alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 1,000%.
I'm 10 toes down with my abilities.
Yeah.
And if that's not good enough, then I know it's time for me to walk away.
Is LA as bad as people talk about in the recent years?
I think it's always been the same. I just think it's just more,
public knowledge now.
Yeah. I mean, it's LA is a business.
Yeah.
And people say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. As New York, if you go to LA, you just got to get in line. Everybody out there, every waiter, every bartender, every limo driver is got a script in their pocket, or they're an actor. They're trying to be an actor. They're trying to be a writer, and it's just like that's why they can treat people the way they treat them, because there's another guy that will take your place. You go out there and you good looking. You go to a party. Everybody
good looking.
Yeah,
no, seriously.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everybody's good looking.
It's like you show up at a track meet. Everybody in the finals.
Everybody's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, you ain't
nothing special.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won your little regional race, but now you national.
Yeah.
So my thing was that, like, could I compete in LA? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But why stay in the ocean when you can go to a lake and be a whale?
Right.
Or you can stay out there and just be, a shark, just waiting around, but there's a whale right next to you, and so I'm not afraid of competition, but I didn't get into to compete. I got into it to be successful.
Yeah.
And to be successful, you got to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to work continuously, to pay yourself a salary. And I've done that for 30 years.
Hell yeah.
So I put, my kids through college, own 3 different homes. We built 5 homes.
Yeah. That
together,
takes a
my
lot of
wife and
money
I.
today.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's not something that you take for granted,
Right.
And it's not, there's not a lot of people depending on me doing my job. You know what I mean? Like when you're a writer or you're the head of a show, you're the star,
Mm-hmm.
and your show gets canceled. Well, everybody, the writers, the producer, the grip handle, everybody that's taking part in it don't get a check. They're all done. But they were all depending on you to be so popular that show was going to be on, and like Seinfeld, or Friends, or all these other Cosby Show.
Yeah.
When they go away, them people are gone.
They're gone. You never hear from
Jerry will get paid forever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he don't have to worry about nothing.
No, so at the end of the day, you can walk away from stuff, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you carried your own water.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do.
I like that, carry your own water.
Yeah.
Talking a little bit about Jerry Seinfeld, I was listening to a podcast with him, and he said there's no better feeling in the world when you're doing stand-up comedy and you're about 20, 25 minutes in and the crowd is loving you. And he's like, to sum it up for an average person, it's like slinging a plate on your finger like a basketball, and you're just living in the moment. He's like, the energy is right at you. You're giving away energy. Right. What's it like, C. Willie, when you're doing that? You're killing. You've got a few in the bag still, and you're just like, I got him.
Euphoria.
Yeah, bro.
That's
I bet
great,
there's no drug, no nothing. No liquor,
nothing.
It's all, dude. You can't put that in a pill.
And when I tell you, that's why I walked away from LA, because you're talking to a camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're out here doing a TV show or a movie, and you just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to wait till it come on screen and see how people react in the movie theater. You know what I mean? If it makes it, a lot of movies that are shot never even make it to the theaters. A lot of people don't realize that. But when you're standing on stage and you get that laughter coming at you, man, when you know you got them and you just keep going, you can take that break and know that you can go right back and get them again. You know what I mean? And that's what we call instant gratification. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted in my career. That's what I want on every one of my shows. But because, if I can get 95 to 96% of the people in the room to get their head nodded, them people is just going to be there. It's that other 5 to 4% that I'm going to work my butt off for to get. Just like I was telling you early, man, a couple of guys sitting up front, like I can tell the way they was sitting, their body language. They was like, yeah, we're going to get you understand that you're going to have to earn our laughter. And I'm like, yeah, but at some point in your life, you got to want to laugh, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to want to. Yeah.
That's one of the few things in this country you could do for free.
Yeah, damn right.
You better take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise doctors are going to try to figure a way to charge you for that. But at the end of the day, like, you're right. When you're up there and when you tell that story and people are laughing, when you hear people breathing hard and they're going, oh my God, you'd be like, yeah, I got him, and there's no better feeling, man.
No, dude, I bet I can't even imagine. But hearing people talk about it, like you just said, well, see, Willie, believe it or not, we've been at this for 35 minutes. I know you got a story. Yeah, flew by. You got a show tonight, so I won't hold you up too long. But we got 2 segments left.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this one's called 10 for 10.
Okay.
And it's 10 straight questions. There's no right or wrong answer.
Right.
You just answer whatever you prefer. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. See Willie, 10 for 10, and away we go. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Palm trees or evergreen trees?
Palm.
Lake or ocean?
Ocean.
Favorite actor or actress?
Denzel.
Favorite band or rap artist?
Temptations.
Good pick. What city in Texas has an NBA mascot nicknamed the Mavericks?
Dallas.
What city in Texas has an NFL team nicknamed the Cowboys?
Dallas.
What city in Texas spelled backwards reads salad?
Dallas.
Who is your favorite podcast or new best buddy?
Dallas.
And there we go, bro. Hell yeah. I love that. Listen, see, Willie, this podcast, Swim Lessons, is kind of about overcoming tough times. Keep on swimming and learn to get through it. What do you say to yourself when your back's up against the wall, you're in a dark room, chips aren't falling how they want, and you got to get through something tough?
It's easy, man. I always tell myself the same thing. Hey, you've been here before. Don't get scared. Don't act like you don't know what to do. You know, you put your big boy underwear on, you lace up your shoes just a little bit tighter, pull your belt, tuck your damn shirt in, and you get after it. You go out there and show them who you are. I've had many a times during COVID.
Oh yeah.
I had 2 years where I didn't do no shows. All my tours were canceled.
What did you do?
You know, sat at home, man. That's
did you write? Did you?
No. I sat at home. My wife and I, we looked at, and I'm going to be honest with you. We looked at my bank account. We looked at our bank account, and my wife said, "You got this. You don't.
We good. Yeah.
We good. Just sit here. You don't need to do nothing." Mm-hmm. She said, "Sweetheart, you put in the work to be where we're at right now." And she said, "If you want to walk away from this, you're good." And what people don't understand, and I'll tell you this is a really quick story. I married my banker.
No kidding.
I met my wife at a bank.
Hell yeah.
When we were young.
That makes me feel good. My girlfriend's a banker, so
Right.
Yeah.
So if I'm broke, we broke. So my wife is very good with our finances. She knows how to keep companies separated from us. Mm-hmm. So I incorporated myself the second year that I was a full-time comedian. So I paid myself a salary for all these years, right? And my wife, she knows how to take care of us, you know? So all I got to do is go out there on that road and make that money. And then when we come back home, and I had to take them 2 years off because I didn't want to risk my life to be funny.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to be funny, but I would not risk my life to be funny.
Yeah.
I respect that I didn't want to kill nobody either. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Coming to my shows, you know? So I told my agents, I don't want to go back out and do theaters until they're back to 100%. Mm-hmm. And it took a couple of years.
Yeah.
Before then, I started out doing little corporate shows first, and then I moved back into the theaters, and it's been great ever since. But the thing is that if you get to a spot in your life, man, you just got to know that's not your first time. And if it is your first time, act like you've been there before.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it.
That's right. Don't ever panic. That's the worst thing you can do when you get backed in a corner is panic, you know?
Damn, I love it. Well, give us a quick plug where people can follow you, website, Instagram, whatever you prefer.
Hey, I'm on all social medias, and everything is under my name because I don't hide. It's just C. Willi Myles. There's nothing fancy about my name. It's C WILLIMYLES. Just Google it, and it'll pull up everything. I'm on X, Thread, Instagram, TikTok.
Heck yeah.
You know, Twitter, Facebook.
He's on. You're on it all. I can't wait for the show tonight, dude. I'm really excited.
I got a lot of work on YouTube. So
do you?
Yeah, go to my YouTube channel and you can listen to a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff on there. So
hell yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the show tonight, man. Can't wait.
I am too, man.
Appreciate your time today.
No, I appreciate you having me, man. I'm so glad you reached out.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. I love doing stuff like this.
Yeah, man. Well, it means a lot to me, and
absolutely.
Make sure you check him out. But that's a wrap for my guy, C. Willi Myles. Thanks, Silly Willie.
Thank you.